So hello, welcome back to Go Again Gaming and the league that means absolutely nothing whatsoever. I'm your host for today, and actually I'm the host for the entire thing, actually, so that makes sense. But I'm joined by Warrior aficionado, Pat Shaw. Well, more of an aficionado than I am. When I thought Warrior, I thought, who do I know that would love to cast a few games? And I thought of this man. So how's it going, mate? You alright?
I'm doing fantastic. You know, it's the league that means nothing for Elo, but it means everything in the hearts and minds of the player base that you've captured here in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's good.
So good on you for hosting it, man.
Yeah, it's good stuff. We've had some good games so far, and up to this point, this is week 2. So you would have already seen a few other games on Go Again Gaming as well, which were casted and commentated by Bill from Spike Feeders and one of his friends that does a lot of regular gameplay content on the Spike Feeders Fab. So thanks for Jay and Bill for doing the other 3 games. But today we've got Warrior matchups, and hence, as I aforementioned earlier, why I brought you on, because I know you've dabbled in a lot of Kasai. You put points on the board for blitzing Kasai, is that right, if I remember correctly?
We did. We got there.
Good stuff.
We got there the last skirmish season with her. Very proud of that.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. So before we jump into the game, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and where people can find you? And we'll do that again at the end, but if people don't know who you are, just do that.
Sure thing. My name is Patrick Shaw. You can find me on Off the Rails TCG on YouTube. There, I host the podcast, The Action Point, where I bring together a handful of fab personalities and hit them with quick, hot take questions. We have some fun. It's fast. It's fun. We get some points going. We have a winner at the end of each episode. So you can add the next episode is actually coming out. I don't know when this will air, but on Friday the 8th, around noon, it will premiere the first episode of 2024 for the Action Point. But Off the Rails TCG is everywhere you can find me, social media, Discord, all that good stuff.
Fantastic. So below Pat's screen, you'll be able to see an @Twitter tag, essentially. That will be there. Right now it's not, but post-editing, it'll be there by magic.
Magic of post-production.
That's right. But yeah, we're going to be casting some Warrior games today, so let's get straight to the first one. This is Master Set Madness, a content creator, I believe, that does mainly box openings, but yeah, so fairly new onto the scene, I believe. But they're going to be on Dory, and they're playing against Mocha, or the internet name of this person is Mocha, playing on Dromai. So yeah, first of all, before we get into it, what do you think this matchup entails for these heroes, Pat? Because I'm not familiar really with other heroes apart from Azalea, to be honest. But what's your sort of first thoughts going into this one for Dory v Dromai?
I think it's really big for Dory to start accumulating counters by taking down dragons. The taller she can make Dawnblade, the more overwhelming she can be later. And that's really going to be, I think, the main strategy is clear the board with dragons, try to get some go again, but accumulate counters over time, really force Dromai into a position where they have to play defensively. They can't be proactively be making ash and start doing those things where the Rake the Embers and all the efficient dragons can really start overwhelming the board state. If Dromai gets into that position where they do have multiple Ash Wings and dragons on the board, it's still really hard for Dory to clear the board and keep up with that the value that those dragons bring over time. So it's really gonna be a race against the clock. Dory definitely has a clock. It needs to get those counters on. It needs to attack Dromai and get tall very quickly. Dromai has to play a sensible game, get those dragons on the board, and establish that board presence before those counters become a problem.
Cool, yeah, that makes sense, because one of the last games we saw on round 1 was actually DM Armada playing Kasai into Mocha's Dromai, and and it seemed like, because Kasai is more consistent, I think, whereas Dory has that sort of scalability factor, as if you can get the stuff on the sword, it gets harder and harder for your opponent to really engage with it, whereas Kasai was just not consistently getting rid of the dragons, although saying that, in that game, Mocha saw 3 tomes of Imperial Flame, so that could have just been
really. It helps. That card in particular has turned a lot of what used to be unfavorable matchups back into at least like 50-50, if not favorable matchups. I play a lot of Katsu as well, and that used to be favored into Dromai, but those Imperial Tomes really make it a crapshoot. It's a real skill-based game once that happens.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. It's good for her to have that kind of weapon, but it really sucks to see it on the other side, especially in multiples.
Absolutely. There's a couple of polarizing cards, and that's one of them that's basically on one of those scales, like Codex as well. There's a lot of cards that people hate, but they run well in the decks. But let's get straight to the match now, and this is Master Set Madness on Dory versus Mocha on Dromai. Cool, so here we are. They're just flipping over their equipments here. So obviously, anything stand out to you straight away, Pat, from the equipment flips?
Yeah, on Dorinthea, the Grains of Blood Spill taking over for Courage of Bloodhold. That's become really popular as of late, getting that Vigor token, kind of being able to carry a resource turn through turn in hopes of having it pay off on a bigger turn. Courage, free sword swings is good, and it's a classic strategy, but Grains has seemed to be pulling its weight here as the popular chess piece, as well as Balance of Justice. If Dromai plays Imperial Tome and draws 2 cards, Balance of Justice, you can destroy it and draw a card on your side. You still want to get the value out of it. You want to block 2 before that happens, so you can get the block value out of that, but it's at least a 5 block value when that happens.
Absolutely.
We see Blade Flurry already. Blade Flurry, one of the best new cards out of heavy hitters for Warrior. I think it's a 3 of in every set there. Dromai with the defense reaction, though, Dory's trying to get that counter on and possibly a Vigor token, and to have that stuffed like that on turn 0 is going to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, you can see there that they're trying to get that on hit through straight away, but obviously they had the D-React in hand to cover up 10, which was just enough to make sure that but Dorinthea's not pulling ahead straight away on turn 1, which is what Warriors can do, I guess, can't they? They can react over the top of things and maybe get the ball rolling early with the evasion. But over to Mocha now, who is going to be... I think they also pitched into the Flamescale Furnace at the end of Dorinthea's turn there to get an Ash, and then are coming in with a fancy Ravenous Rabble, which was only available recently at one of the events. I can't remember which one. It was the one I went to, actually, Hartford.
That is a flat. Yeah, they've had a few side events in some of the bigger
that's right.
Events held that this has been available. So it's nice to see it. Sleeved up and being used.
But it looks like he's just taking it.
Oh,
look at that flex. But as you can
Ravenous
see,
Rabble is going to be always good in Dromai because it's always going to flip for for the most part. It's going to be a red card, so it's always going to be a 4-go again. It can be really tough to, there's not an on hit, so the general rule of thumb is to eat it, but it can get really difficult to eat 8 damage plus. So they got to start weighing what they want to do with their own turn, and don't take unnecessary damage.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards to do that. I'll just say, just eat me. And this is one of the most popular ones at the moment, especially for the decks I like to play, Azalea. And of course, in Dromai, it's just a red go again attack, which then turns on everything else that comes after it. So, yeah, very, very good. Very, very good card. But to see 2 of them early here is just a little bit of a flex on Mocha's side here. So, fair play. But yeah, still Master Set Madness is deciding what they want to do here. They've taken the first one to the face, and looks like they are going to be blocking with a red Warrior's Valor and taking 1 and going down to 35 from that.
It is. Looks like that's Warrior's Valor. Not the biggest threat, but coming in again with the Scar for Scar not having go again on this one.
Mm-hmm. So it's just going to be
another 4. It's a 12 damage turn.
Yeah, just going to be a Chain Ender and then Arsenal and Pass, but still a 0 for 4 is okay. I guess just a raw damage turn here, but no dragons established, which is, I guess, a good sign for Master Set Madness if he just doesn't want to see the dragons come out early, so he can just start pressuring the Dromai's hand, because I think that's one of the things you have to do is you have to pressure the Dromai's hand rather than anything else. I think because that's what I feel like what I have to do when I'm playing against Dromai as Azalea. I just need to pressure the hand as much as I can, because the life doesn't really matter at this point. You just want to make sure that you're getting ahead and not allowing them to build up that board state, which to you as a warrior player is going to be hard. And that's exactly what's going on here. They're taking the raw damage again from that Scar for a Scar. So this could be the start that Dorinthea might need, to be honest. But we'll see.
Only blocked with 1 card, so they should have 3 with a card in arsenal.
That's right.
That is like ideal Dorinthea like card math right there. You want an action, you want a pitch, you want a reaction, and something spicy to add on top of that just in case.
And that's another good thing about the grains as well, right? If you've got floating resources, you can bank those resources for your next turn, and then if you can get that ball rolling as a warrior, and we've seen it with Kasai as well. Oh, okay, Nourishing's coming in. Interesting.
We do love the Nourishing. This is probably the only one they have in their deck. I don't have a deck list in front of me, but they don't have a way to banish it from the graveyard like Kasai does. So
True.
they usually still run a cute one of here. It is for 6 dominate, but there is some, there's a full suite of blocking equipment on Dromai's side. So be interested to see if they choose to take this or not.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a one-off, like you say, but obviously I think Master Set Madness might want to run poppers in this meta in general, I think, going forward. But obviously this is the meta that means nothing ultimately. But they're blocking with a Kyloria here, so that's 3, and then we got a sand cover. Okay, so that's going to block everything, getting rid of the ash for the ward. That's fair enough. Fully blocked.
Easy way to get rid of that. Notably, pitching a Twinning Blade for that. See how long this game goes. But Twinning Blade essential to one of the big combos. If they get the dragons out, a Glistening Blade Twinning Blade turn is a real quick way to accumulate a bunch of counters.
Cool. Looks like first dragon, Yenderai, and this one is hard to clear because of the endurance counter on it. So you have to make sure that you deal 6 damage, I think, to it, or is it 7? I can't remember. I think it's 7 damage to kill it in one hit. But he is attacking with this Yenderai now, so we'll see what Master Set Madness wants to do with this block.
I don't think I've ever thought about it like that. Yeah, you can go over the top. I'm used to just poking it for like 1. And then get the counter off, and then coming back later for it. But you're absolutely right.
Oh, there's a CNC.
Command and Conquer does it. Yep.
There we go. That's the first popper.
Lovely so we've noticed the Nourishing and the Command and Conquer. So Dorinthea is running at least 2 different kinds, up to 6 poppers here.
And that's the thing as well, right? When this tournament started, everybody knew what everybody else was playing. So it kind of formed a meta and deck building opportunity in its own right, because everyone knew what everybody else was playing. So that's an interesting way you could build your deck, because you already know what heroes you may come up against. So maybe there's a bit of that metagaming being done in the decks that we see here. I don't have lists for them. Maybe I should have them, but yeah, this is the league that means nothing after all. So who cares? Anyway, this is a blue hit and run. So the next weapon's going to go again. Of course, that's referring to the Dawn Blade, pitching a... What's that? Do you know what that is?
That is an Emboldened Blade, yep.
Oh, Emboldened Blade. Can't remember what that does, but it's a blue pitch. Block 3, I imagine.
It's a non-attack action. If you play it, the opponent has a card in arsenal, they flip it. If it's a defense reaction, you can destroy it. And if you do, the next weapon attack you gets +1. But that is coming behind the Twinning Blade in the second cycle now.
Okay, interesting.
So we are coming in for 3 go again. We have 2 resources floating here. The general rule of thumb with Dorinthea math is 1 resource, 1 card is +3 power potentially. So anytime you're playing into a Dorinthea, that's kind of what you're weighing when you're deciding how you want to block is, how much can you actually tolerate here in terms of damage. And it looks like they took the 3 as the Dawnblade does have go again.
That's right. And I think
But they did break. It looks like they broke the combat chain.
Yeah, when they're just deciding to put some resources into grain, so they're going to get a vigor, and then they're just going to swing again. So, yeah, we're going to see how much value Master Set Madness can get out of this vigor, because vigor is just a floating tunic. Essentially, if you've got the resources left over, it can just get out of control fairly quickly. I've seen it on a few games now that, funnily enough, we've been part of this tournament. I've been watching quite a few Warrior games, and that grain's just been very good. From what I've seen so far. But yeah, this is just coming in for a Naked Dawnblade, but obviously threatening the on-hit of getting the counter on it, which is what Master Set wants to do ASAP while Mokka's got no dragons out. So yeah, that's good. This is good. This is good, I think, for Dorinthea. I could be wrong.
Yeah, but threatening the first counter early in the game. It's just with two cards still in it. Well, a card in arsenal and a card in hand. There's still potential to come over the top with a reaction. So Dromai really has to weigh what they want to do next turn here if they're going to allow the threat of a counter to proceed.
Yeah, exactly what you said there. You've got Dorinthea's still got an arsenal. This is still threatening the first counter, and Master Set has got a vigor to crack on his next turn. He's loving the fact that this is just a Naked Dawnblade right now, and the decision points that Mokka's having to go through, still with the potential of having a reaction behind this, and it looks like he is just going to take it. So that's a great situation to be in. So that is going to get a counter. Lovely old job.
So now the Dawnblade is going to attack for a breakpoint each time and can single swing kill something like a mirror guy. So Dromai now has to pay extra attention to when and how it plays its dragons.
Cool. So going over to Dromai's turn now with Master Set just drawing up, and it looks like Dromai's going to start with a Billowing Mirage. So this is a 3 attack, go again, cost 1. And it can when you attack with it, you can transform it to 1 ash. You control into an Ashwing, but I don't think he has one at the moment, or he's choosing not to do that. Maybe just to say
it looks like he's choosing not to and going up to 2 ash.
Yeah, just to get that currency, perhaps.
Yeah, the early turn of the 0 cost 4 attacks, well, efficient damage wise, actually don't do much for ash production, and Dromai's strategy is constantly trying to be ash positive, which is a term I learned from Mara a bit ago. But
yeah,
you want to be ash positive for your game. If you're ash negative, that's a really bad state for Dromai to be in, where it can't actually create those dragons.
But yeah, Mokka coming in with this CNC. Yeah, CNC. Is threatening...
So the one, the caveat or downside of the Balance of Justice is, there's a lot of Crown of Providences out there. Dromai itself is running a Crown of Providence. I imagine if they were going first, they might have put the Crown of Dominion so they could pitch early for the gold token. But that Crown of Providence used to be a get out of jail free card when it came to your arsenal early with the Command and Conquer, and now they have to put cards in front if they want to preserve their arsenal, like you just saw there.
Yeah, absolutely. Calls the Vigor's crack in from the grains the turn before, so this is always a good start. So that means a Dawnblade is free, and then obviously you got Master Set's got 2 cards in hand plus the arsenal. That's exactly what we're seeing now. The Dawnblade costing absolutely nothing to swing, and with a 3-card hand still here as well, which is nice. So we'll see what Mokka has to do. But yeah, that 4, still no dragons on board from Mokka. I think this is Dorinthea's chance to just keep coming in and threatening the hand.
Yeah, definitely. If it can strip some cards out of Dromai's hand, Dromai's going to be in a real tough position here. Dorinthea is constantly going to try to poke over for 1, right? Like it wants, if they block for 7 here, they want to go for 8, right? And keep playing that game where you dedicated cards to prevent an on-hit, and they still got 1, right? They want to win those little matchups here and there. And we see here, I believe that is a 4 total block which is ripe Iron Song Pride time.
Nice. So that's the one. That's the one that you need, right? Oh no. Yeah. So it goes. Yeah. So it goes up to 5.
So puts a counter on the Dawn Blade, so it goes up to 5, and as long as it hits, you'll be able to keep it. It looks like they're going to break Seeker's Mitts in order to prevent 1 damage. So they're preventing, or they've blocked 4, preventing 1. So it is currently blocked right now. It'd be interesting to see if there is another reaction to help, because this would cost the counter. It counts 2 counters now off of Dorinthea if this is it.
I would say that he could. She should have something for this, because Iron Song seems like a bit of a maybe not. Then no, okay, so he hasn't got anything for this. So the counters are going to come off. Okay, that's fair enough. But at least he's keeping the arsenal, at least, and still stripping away cards from Mokka's hand. So he's not going to have anything to do. He's just going to arsenal and pass on his turn. So I guess that was a good outcome, really.
Yeah, it's always nice to. I personally, for me, I love it when my opponent just dumps their hand defensively, and all I have to do is draw up, and I get another whack at it. Obviously, some heroes are much better defensively than others, and can play that game. But as an offensive-minded player myself, I do like the opportunity to attack more often than not.
Absolutely. And so Mokka has still got, I believe, 4 armor on board. Is that right? Flame scale blocking for 2, crown 2. Is that right? 4 armor on board.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The furnace does have temper, so it can block for a total of 3 before it goes down. So you have 5 total between the 2 of them. But the Snapdragon's obviously doesn't count for anything there. But we do have, I believe, Dorinthea has a full grip right now. So starting off with the Steel Blade Supremacy and the Spoil, we're looking at +4 total. I believe that's a 7 attack Dawn Blade. Yep. On hit Copper, less relevant in Dorinthea. But the draw and the go again are the two big things happening here.
Yeah, that is a solid attack. Presenting 7 as well is always a bit of an annoyance to deal with, of course, and still holding up 2 cards to potentially get a hit in and then potentially swing again with Dawnblade. So we'll see what Mokka chooses to do in this scenario, and he's going to draw as well off Steelblade. So that could be good. Here we go. What is this, 9?
Yeah, that's the downside of these. It does look like 9, 3/3 blocks. The downside of a big like Steelblade turn like this is it is a big red neon side that says "block me." So we'll see if Dorinthea can get over by 1. This is the time to do it. If they've got a 1 cost 3,
or like an Iron Song, like an Iron Song or something. Oh, okay. Shift the tide of battle.
All right, shift. It still doesn't give. They won't be able to attack an additional time here, but it will. It gives it go again. But I'm not sure if they need it. So the spoils already gave them go again. So I'm a little confused by that play. It might just be to clear their hand and filter it out after kind of conceding that they're not going to hit this turn, to try and just clear the arsenal, cycle it, put a new one in, and kind of draw up and try again. Looks like is what was happening.
Yeah, I think the shift the tide of battle is probably one you want to try, and if it's not really doing anything in the moment, you want to try and clear it out of the arsenal, because it doesn't give you any buffs. It doesn't give you any things that you need for the synergistic purposes of trying to hit your opponent. It just smooths out the turns where you want to go. You want to attack twice, for instance. But yeah, I don't think it's good enough to sit in the arsenal, like you say. I think it's just worth clearing out, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. I would venture to say that turn was a bit of a misplay on the Dorinthea side. I hope they don't get too punished for that. That shift is I think it's a very underrated card, but the ability to give 2 attacks go again on 1 card, when we talk about like turn value and how to evaluate things, getting an agility token and go again, it's pretty good, especially with, given Warriors card pool. So being able to make sure you use that is going to effectively is super important. Ooh, we're going big and hard again on Dorinthea here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's +3, +2, 5, 8 total. Go again. On hit, more go again. Still has one card in hand with one in arsenal. So we are looking at a max 11 over the top here, unless that's a Sing Steel Blade, then they could do 12, I believe.
So in this situation, what is Dromai trying to do? Just trying to block all of these attacks until they get to until they get to what's Dromai trying to do in this situation? Because it looks like it's all Dorinthea just swinging huge blades at the moment.
Yeah, they're swinging big, but they're not really punching through, which I think is is kind of the problem here. Dromai is comfortable playing defensively, especially the first cycle, as it is. When they're gathering those ash, Dorinthea only has so much threat density, right? Only so many go again cards, so many, non-attack actions that do productive things here. That if they're going to burn through those quickly. Now we've seen 2 spoils, 2 red warrior valors, a steel blade supremacy, all in the first few turns here. There's a lot of game to play, and those are the big red. Those are the big bad threats. There, those Dawn blades are going to be much less effective. As we go on here. And I think Dromai is just comfortable in its position here to just, block. And it looks like an Iron Song response here to get it to 10. Nope, 11.
11, yeah.
And we'll see.
Oh,
yeah, all right. There
damn.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Well,
it usually is prepared for things like this. And, here it is there. A Dromai doesn't really lose much here. If they have a 0-cost dragon, now's a great time to play it. They might be able to just poke through if they feel confident that there's no popper here, or they can just if it's where we got there we go, like a dust up. That's a great one. 4 attack. If it hits, you can create an Ashwing for nothing. This is something that Dorinthea probably wants to put. If they don't have a defense reaction, it's at least worth a card in the bolters, I think, as a block.
Yeah, because it's when they start building up the little weenie dragons that you don't want to waste your attacks on. That's when it starts getting a bit out of control.
There's the balance block for 2. Oh, it looks like they were thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those Ashwings, especially against warriors, can be really a big pain in the ass. If you think about, Ashwing just deals 1 damage, right? But the longer it stays on the board, now it's dealing 2 damage, and it's 3 damage, right? And then that's a full card's value worth, if it stays on the board for 3 turns, and it just gets more and more oppressive over time. Every time it pokes you for 1.
Yeah,
and there's the bolters plus a card is the clean 4 block. So now Bolters has gotten the value out. I wouldn't be shocked to see that. The first time they get a hit, they'll try to break that and get the go again value off of that.
I think that's the only thing that Dromai can do this turn, though, right? They've passed now, I believe. Yeah,
does look like that. Yep. So cool. Now, right, yellow Warriors Valor. They've already ran out of 2 of the reds. It still presents a break point in I believe this will be a 5 power. It's still a 2-card block, and if they have a defense reaction, which is likely at this point, there's nothing too threatening here.
Yeah, so
I do believe that Dromai is they're waiting for what they want to see in their hands. And they'll if they like what they have, they'll eat a non steel blade turn, right? If they want to, putting 1 counter on a Dawn blade isn't the end of the world, and it's simple enough to for some heroes like Dromai to be able to just kind of block it out and reset the counter. without too much effort.
Mm-hmm.
So if they, and it looks like they did let the 5 go through, created the vigor token, they'll swing again. This time it will be for less, so that if you have the opportunity to block, efficiently on that second less powerful swing, you can still prevent the counter and still keep, most of your hand if you so chose.
But as you can see here, we've pitched obviously a glint into the Braidforge Bracers, which has now pushed this up to a break point, and they still got a resource floating to potentially react over the top. But it doesn't look like they're going to be doing that. It looks like Mokka's just going to be taking the damage here, maybe just seeing their hand and be like, okay, this is one worth playing out. So yeah, but that's that. The Dawnblade does now have a counter, and they are going to pitch the last into the grains. So they're going to get 2 grains triggers this turn. That could be a good setup, perhaps, for them to not care about the crackback from Mokka, because they're going to have 2 resources floating from the grains. So I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to seeing what Dorinthea's next turn could be with those 2 vigors popping.
Right. This means, if needed to, Dorinthea can block with their entire hand and still swing twice.
Exactly.
With go again.
But there we go.
Mokka, the strategic loss of life to make sure that Scar for Scar turns on for 4 go again now.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, they've actually dropped their life total to make sure this is a 0 for 4 with go again, definitely. And something that Master Set is probably just going to eat 4 damage. Yeah, exactly. Just going to eat 4 damage there. So evening out the life totals a little bit. Still Dromai on the play. So 4 Ash on field. What is going to happen next? We will see.
For as defensive as Dromai's been, right? They've both been able to poke through and deal their damage, and it's still, right? It's anybody's game, 24-25 right now. A mischievous Meeps. You know what? They blocked with one before with that Blaze Headlong.
Goodness me.
Not too long ago, but yeah, man. All right. 2 attacks. I think this is probably a good use of some armor. Blocking 3 on a 2 feels bad when it's inefficient. There, maybe this is where he throws the balance. Yeah, there we go.
Nice, good call. Yeah, and balance really. Okay, now following up with a snatch.
Ooh. So this Dromai, not a ton of dragons happening. I wouldn't quite call this. I guess I haven't seen what an Empress list looks like lately, but this does look very much a kind of a red, go wide aggro more than taking advantage of any kind of dragons. We saw the Endurai, but outside of that, not a ton happening there.
Yeah, it's an interesting one as well, because we've seen one of Mokka's games already on the League That Means Nothing in week 1, where he played against DM Armada's Kasai, and he definitely did have a multitude of dragons in those games of all shapes and sizes. So it's interesting to see the way that how different the way can go with this deck. But the snatch is drawing out Grains and Braveforge, which is going to be fully blocking it out.
It does kind of change the game, like the strategy a little bit in terms of how Dorinthea, would be thinking initially about approaching the game, like we talked about before this started. Maybe taking advantage of those dragons, getting counters on. We're seeing from the Dromai negating that, that potential strategy by focusing more on just this kind of pure aggression and just pushing forward with, we see the cards like the Snatch and the Meeps coming at them. So the Dorinthea now has to, kind of be constantly thinking on her back foot about, how they're going to block, stop the card draw, and still come back with a 2-3 card hand.
But yeah, what Master Set did last turn is utilised as much equipment as possible to now crack back with what I believe is a 5 card hand with 2 floating resources to begin with. This could be a bit of a monster of a turn, I think. With a counter on the Dawnblade as well already.
Yep, 4 attack, Dawnblade at the ready, 2 resources. This is right now or never, right? You gotta start getting the tempo in your favor here eventually. Goblet of Blood Run Wine, underrated card. People kind of poo-poo it for the 2 block, but the vigor and agility are very nice cards to have. It doesn't do much for this turn, so it does. It's essentially back to your 3/4 card hand there, and no non-attack action to buff it. Means that it is, if it's anything, it's very reaction heavy. So seeing the 4 with the naked 4, as it were.
I kind of like this though, because obviously Master Set started this turn with floating resources. He's now set up another turn for next turn. Potentially can put more resources into grains this turn, and then just have another big rolling turn. All this sort of accumulating value with the Dawn Blade and the Vigor tokens, and the agility and everything. I think it's just a nice situation to be in, especially because of the fact that Mocha is not on the arsenal either. He's just operating with the hand alone. I think this is a good position for Dorinthea to be in, looking at the board state.
Agreed. I think one of the best parts about like the Warriors game is it does put some agency into the defender to make a decision, right? And for Dorinthea to be able to kind of make sure that they make the wrong decision, no matter what it is kind of, is their game. And I think they would be happy to just take to let 8 go through, and we see the Blade Flurry again. We love that card. So it did look like passed on defenses. They reacted with the Blade Flurry, no reaction on Dromai's part, taking 6. We see the Bolter is breaking now for the go again. So we're going to see another at least 6 attack. We still have a resource and 2 card in hand and a card in arsenal.
Yeah, it's going to be a strong turn. Plus the fact, no matter what happens here, Master Set's next turn is going to be also complemented with vigor and agility as well because of the blood run. So if people are poo-pooing on that card, like you say, in this particular situation, it's just everything's rolling for Dorinthea right now. So we'll see what the follow-up is, but it's going to be a sword swing of some description for 6. But he's still got cards to play with, which could be even larger than 6 from the Blade Flurry. Pitching a blue.
The blue Overpower, being pitched. A card that is, with all these warriors showing up, blue Overpower getting some love as a late game finisher. The 2-cost 4 buff reaction has been known to close out quite a few games in this heavy hitters meta.
As we can see here as well, Braveforge Bracers is on the screen. So what he's done is he's used the floating resource that he had from the Vigor to fuel the Braveforge. Then he's pitched a blue into the Dawn Blade. So he's still got 2 floating here, presenting 7 with an arsenal and still a card in hand, which could be something that he needs to push over the damage that he needs to get the second counter on this attack, which is still pretty horrendous for Mocha to deal with. Because even if they block with 3 cards, the maths is still there for the +3, as you mentioned earlier, to bring it up to a 10. So yeah, I think Dory's got Dromai at the moment. Here we go. Here's a 9, I believe.
Yep, 9 with a card in hand. I wouldn't be shocked to see if that's a defense reaction. Now, if Dorinthea has a reaction, now's the time, because you basically got to ask them to have it. Singing Steel Blade's a great card to be playing right now. It'll go to 8. It'll be minimum. Iron Song Response can make it 4 total, go to 11. But you still have that resource floating, so the world's really your oyster here. You can stroke, you can out for blood, you can do whatever you want here.
And guess what? That was all because of the Vigor token, the Vigor generation from the turn before, and we're going to get all of that.
Yeah, having that resource. Yep.
Yeah, and we're going to get all of that again next turn as well, Pat. It's going to be ridiculous. Brilliant. So he's getting an Iron Song response just for the 0 +3. And what I imagine he's going to do also is use that floating resource to pay into grains again, which is going to give him 2 vigor again on this next turn. Outrageous card.
Yeah, no, it's definitely pulling its weight. It's an excellent way to smooth. Ooh,
Oh no, puncture. Okay then.
we got the puncture, another +3. I think that's the if you have a sink, I still get my second counter insurance policy.
True, very true.
Total of another plus. It was +7 on it, so I believe it was 14 swing happening there. Pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah. Now a 10 life differential between the two, with Dawnblade being on 2 counters and Mocha having to block with 3 cards there, and those 3 cards meant absolutely nothing because Master Set was just able to go over the top, puncture through more damage because of those Vigor tokens, and just, yeah, pretty good.
Now we're in potentially dangerous territory here for Dromai. 2 counters on Dawnblade, a full hand. Dromai needs to think about what it needs in terms of defensive cards in order to take those counters off. They're gonna have to start racking their heads and doing some math. Time to throw some armor in front. If the Dawnblade continues to hit, we might be seeing how this game snowballs out of control for Dromai. But if Dromai can get those counters back, it goes back to a much more fair flesh and blood game there, and they have some opportunity to claw back.
Absolutely, and what you said about snowballing, we're going to have that now with the Vigor and the Agility, but Emboldened Blade coming back round, so they're going to reveal a Kyloria that's in their arsenal, so that's not going to do anything, unfortunately, but luckily...
Yeah, it does need to be a defense reaction for it to get the +1, so essentially does nothing except give information.
But luckily, because of the turn prior to this, we've already got Agility and Vigor, so it's still, I guess, a free card anyway, because they've got a resource floating to a certain degree and go again already from the tokens. So yeah, this is going to be a 5 coming in with go again because of the Agility that popped before it, and I believe Master Set's still got 3 cards in hand after that as well.
Yep, I believe you are right. So another tough position for Dromai to be in. This is probably at least 2 cards and armor here if they're trying to do something offensively next turn.
God, yeah, this is hard. This is hard for Dromai at the moment to try and deal with all of this snowball effect that we've had in the last couple of turns. It's just not stopping. Yeah. It's just not stopping, is it? The incremental value is now being compounded by the fact that Dawnblade just grows with the whole situation as well, right?
Yeah, it's very easy for Dorinthea to, whatever they present at this point, the potential to just poke over even for 1 is devastating for Dromai if it happens. So we see here, what is that, 9, 11? And Twinning Blade. Twinning Blade is so backbreaking.
Oh my goodness me. All of that value from the block of Dromai means nothing with this card. Holy hell.
Yep. Swinging again with the free go again coming from the Agility.
Oh my goodness me. That's savage.
So it'll at least be 5 coming again. And Dromai just does not have... they'll have 5 with a card in hand and Crown of Providence. They'll probably have to use it. Energy Potion. This Dorinthea is cooking. It's got some nice card selection too.
Wow, okay, so he's obviously pumped the Brave Forge up as well, right, to bring it up to a 6. Is that what he's done? I imagine so.
That is interesting. I don't think he should have, if that is the case.
Okay, well,
because Brave Forge Bracers has to hit, or is on and hit when that happens. So if the Twinning Blade just gave the extra attack, so I'm not sure where the extra is coming from.
Yeah, maybe they've made an error there. Maybe they thought, I can just activate my Brave Forge because because Twinning Blade was so backbreaking, it almost feels like you can still activate the Brave Forge. But nevertheless, yeah, whether that's been missed, I'm not sure. But Mokka's down to 8. That was still a pretty backbreaking turn with the Twinning Blade, so we'll see what happens now. Mokka's only got the Kyloria in Arsenal and a card in hand with 4 Ash, so I'm not sure.
Taking 6. All right, they didn't add the counter because they missed on the first one, so it's still got 2 counters. As long as Dorinthea can keep the counters on, it's a bad time for Dromai. Finally getting to use some Ash here. The Kyloria itself loses a bit of value when there is tokens on the board for the opponent. With Kasai in particular, with its coppers and golds, Kyloria doesn't get the card draw automatically. It's a condition that if they don't have an item that you can take, then you can draw a card. But currency counts. And I think the Vigor token counts as well. All that being said, Master Set could let this hit and not worry about a card draw.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think at this point, I'm not sure if this really matters. Oh my goodness me. Really? Down and dirty from Arsenal? Oh my goodness me. That is savage. Mokka's just like drawing his cards extremely quickly because he knows that's another back-breaking turn, back to back. And now, again, snowball effect with the Vigor that he generated last turn. Just got another free resource there, which is just, this card is ridiculous. This Grains of Bloodspill.
Grain's definitely great. Down and dirty, spicy. That's definitely a selection made with some foresight into the opponents for the league. That means nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's a prism. There's also a prism in this league as well. So yeah, there's definitely pre-selection. But yes, Steel Blade Supremacy, which is being played for free because of the Vigor. That's a pretty good start.
Yep, and with the 2 counter buff, it's coming in for 7.
Yeah.
It's instead, right? Without those counters, that comes into 5. It's a minimum 2 card block. Now you're talking about a 3 card block before you can do anything else to stop the card draw here.
So that is...
And
Yeah, that is 7.
Yeah, some 2 blocks happening there. Unfortunate timing for Dromai.
See the Meeps going under the bus again. Poor things.
Yeah, Meeps, Rakes, Aswise, all great cards. Much better used on the offense than defensively.
Yeah.
If Master Set goes over the top here, I think we might be talking about this game closing out here.
I think so. Yeah, these last couple of turns have just been an absolute demonstration of how quickly Dorinthea can snowball out of control with all the new cards, plus the Dawnblade. So yeah, it's great to see. Great to see. It makes me want to play Warrior, just seeing all of this incremental value, because as an Azalea player, I like seeing all the blood rots, all the frailties, all the on hits. But this is a different sort. This is a different sort of vibe, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, a route as well.
We love the route.
Classic.
Oh, if he adds, so that is +3 going to 10. I think he took the 3 block out, so there are 4. 4 is blocking 10. If he has another reaction, he's going to be presenting lethal here.
Damn, savage. I can see why you like Warriors, Pat. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, there, especially Dorinthea got a big, I think, upgrade in heavy hitters. A lot more tools, and it's in a very good spot. It's still, illusionists will always be kind of a problem, but they're much more manageable right now than prisms of old. So I think warriors in general are in a good spot, and it's good old fashioned flesh and blood. It is attacking, it's blocking, it's thinking, it's all the stuff I like about this game.
Absolutely. So yeah, we see that they've drawn a card from the Steelblade Supremacy, and this didn't have go again though, did it? This attack, no.
I don't believe so. We had the vigor. We did not have an agility. So I believe this is it. If he drew that card, what's he got going on?
More grains.
Okay, they're saying that. Yep. So, yep. No go again. Activated the grains and got a vigor. Stays at 2. Has an arsenal. Mocha at 2. Master Set at 24. Crazier things have happened, but this is probably close to the end here.
I believe Master Set chose not to arsenal a card there. I could have missed that.
Yeah, right. He had a card in hand. It looked like he was spinning it around, but obviously the arsenal is empty now. Usually you do that if there's some real bad cards to arsenal. It's like a blue hit and run or something like that. It's just a terrible. And you know what? It was probably the Command and Conquer ensuring that he had a popper.
Wow. Okay. So, and the great thing is about that as well is that the red that he just used to block the Phantasm, he doesn't care about it because he's got the vigor to replace that card as a pitch card or whatever. It's just the power of grains is just ridiculous right now. It's getting so much value out of it.
Yeah, in this game in particular, Command and Conquer being used effectively as a popper, I think is its best case use. And like you're talking about, he's not missing it at all. He doesn't have to. Pitching a Command and Conquer actually feels terrible, right? Like, so being able to get that value from the blocking, having it do its best job possible defensively, and have a free resource to kind of make sure you're not punished at all by it is definitely a feel good moment for Dorinthea.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like a lot of things have really lined up for the Dorinthea player with the down and dirties and a couple of poppers early, and now the big snow continuous avalanche of value that he's getting from all of these vigor tokens and Dawnblade getting bigger, and just a huge incremental value engine right now. But still deciding.
Yeah, and it is. It's running on all cylinders. This is Mocha's just kind of contemplating their life right now.
Absolutely.
What am I doing here? Where did it all go wrong?
Yeah. But luckily for all these players, all the participants, the league means absolutely nothing. So they're going to walk away happy because there's no stakes whatsoever, which is the whole thing of the tournament, right? People like to play CC, but they like to play just to have fun. There's no stakes also because CC is the best format. I'm gonna say it. That's my favourite format. Although I'm not really competitive, I just love the back and forth and the agency that players have in CC, and hence why I wanted to set this up. And everyone's having a great time by the looks of it, and I'm having a great time casting this one as well. So thanks for being here, Pat.
Thanks for having me. No, this is I think one of the defining kind of attributes of the Flesh and Blood community is the willingness and desire to compete, and they'll do it no matter what the stakes. So league means nothing, but it means the opportunity to play competitive Flesh and Blood, and people jump on that. And Master says jumping on Mocha's neck right now with the Iron Tongue Determination for 6 dominate. He does get the block off for it. We'll see if does the game end right now.
I completely forgot about that card. Iron Song Determination. That is a game ender as well, isn't it? Dominate +1. Yeah, I completely forgot about that card.
Love to see it. Love to see it turn 0, and love to see it very, very late.
Yeah.
There are few things that can stop it. But a D-Reactant Arsenal or a dust sand cover. The ward, there's still outs to be played here potentially, but if he has a reaction, this might be it.
But it looks like it is just.
Oh, we're not going there.
Just being used to maybe get rid of the last pieces of armor, maybe just arsenaling and just hoping for the over the top next time.
No damage does take away. That should take away the Dawnblade counters if that didn't go there. Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know it's close to the end, but we gotta make sure it's happening, right? There's the third of the sexy Ravenous Rabbles being played here. So the little victories.
Absolutely. At least
to show off all the cards.
Exactly. At least he's been able to flex all three of his Ravenous Rabbles. There we go. And yeah, I went out drinking with Mocha. Actually, it was me, Logan Peterson, and Mocha up until like 3-4 a.m. One night in Hartford, which was
that sounds like a dangerous time.
It was a dangerous
time. Dangerous names.
Absolutely.
I'm scared of hanging with Logan for lunch, let alone at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Man. Well, the Scar coming in for 4 definitely has to go again here.
Really? Yeah.
A 17-point differential. But not an ounce of quit in Dromai. It is we're fighting to the last little scrap here.
Absolutely. They just haven't really been able to establish any dragons, have they? I mean, Master Set's just had the poppers at the right time for each of the big dragons. I think Yenderai was popped early. Then Kailoria was popped from the Down and Dirty. Hasn't really been able to make use of the Ash on board to get the little Ash wings out. And as we've seen throughout the game, this is just what Mocha's been doing. He's just been playing attack actions the whole game.
Yeah, and the point you brought up, coming into this is the pressuring of Dromai's hands, and when those counters were on, right, the vigor tokens are coming green, so Blitzbill's doing its thing, and that is exactly what was happening. Dromai had no choice but to play defensively and kind of just stay on the back foot and hope for opportunity to rebound here, and it doesn't look like they've been able to. Dorinthea has put 1 block up, and it looks like they'll probably block out the Snatch regardless. We'll see if there's something cute that'll happen in reactions with the Snapdragon Scalers. That means they might have something in Arsenal. But it has been, I think maybe in hindsight, Mocha would probably think about when he attacked with the dragons, when he did, if maybe holding back on them might have helped him preserve a little life throughout the game here. But we can't dwell on the past. We're living in the now. It was 20 something to 2, and now it's 15 to 2. So we're getting closer here.
Yeah, I think Master Set's just digging for maybe the second Iron Song or something to really just close this out. The determination, I mean the dominate one, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the nifty thing about your opponent being at 2 life is a naked Dawnblade is presenting lethal, so they have to respect it all the way. And we see 6 block right off the bat here.
And that's 2 Nourishings being blocked, and obviously we're going to get the go again and the draw from Glint here.
We love getting the reprise, right? This is when all the reprise kicks in. So all the good stuff Dorinthea is capable of, everything's on the table here.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, and as you say, reprise kicks in here. This is the blue overpower that you mentioned earlier, getting the additional effect late game because they need to block with cards from hand. So yeah, this is now a 7. How is this a 7? Oh right, yeah, because it gets +2, but if the reprise is active, then it gets +4 essentially.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Dorinthea loves the most warriors love having everything's usually in 2s or 3s, so the 4s come at a real premium. Sometimes it's a little more expensive. You see something like a biting blade is something like Josh Lau usually runs as like a one-off. It's kind of like his pet card, but it's able to make 4 damage right across when the reaction happens. Blade of Flurry is good because it's dealing 4, 2, and 2. But this Overpower, even though it's 3 cost, is given the ability to have that 4-point damage breakthrough there. So like they have to have something on top of just one card to block, and if they don't, bad things happen. And it looks like Mocha took the damage and is down to 1. It is just a poke through. They do swing again if they have a resource. I don't know if they have the card in hand for it though.
No, I don't think so. Looks like the hand has been used here, but the Dawnblade doesn't have any counters. It's not going to get a counter because it hasn't hit twice, but still,
right. Yeah, if he's got a 0 cost attack action, he can use it. It doesn't look like that's the case. Just to clean up. Dromai at 1. Not in a great position. 2 cards in hand, card in arsenal. Plenty of ash.
It's now
decides to play the Enduri.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Mocha just hasn't had the opportunity to play any dragons this game, really. And when, as you say, when they chose to attack with them, they were just popped. So maybe there could have been a bit more patience, maybe just trying to build up the board state, use their life as a resource to then build that board state of dragons to then really put the pressure on Dorinthea, but that just hasn't happened in this game by the looks of it. But yeah.
Just taking it, going down to 12. I believe this is a 5-card hand coming at Mocha while they're at 1. So, it's time to pray for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, it's a good start.
Yep, pitching a blue, Steel Blade gives a +2. Warrior's Valor, another +2. So it is at least coming in for 7, which is definitely 3 cards. Has a card in hand and a card in arsenal. So, if Dromai has to put down 3 cards, or, if they have a defense reaction and it is 2 cards, that would be very helpful for them. But, that's if they want to assume that Dorinthea does not have a reaction here, which is a very dangerous game to play. Oh, we see a 2 block. I think that's 8. I think I see there.
Yeah, so you got the dust up, the I don't know what the one is beneath it, but then we've got the blaze as well on top. So I'm not sure what the other
that is a the name is escaping me. It's the 6 toughness dragon.
Oh, Uvia.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So it is an 8 block then. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
All right. Dorinthea's thinking. Oh, the reprise. So we'll go again in a card draw and reactions. Is this the card that wins him the game?
So this is an Iron Song. Oh, okay.
It is.
There we go.
Does Dromai have the reaction?
Oh, sand cover.
It does. The sand cover.
Goodness me. Wow.
Dromai will not go still into this sweet night.
Jeez. But yeah, I think Master Set is now just digging for the dominate. As soon as he gets to dominate, that is it.
It definitely has to. He's got to present. He does have to kill him eventually, but he's already used a lot of Blade Flurries, right? A lot of his red good cards have been used, so he might be in a situation here where he might be having trouble with the numbers being a little low.
Yeah, could be.
And as we've seen, like Dromai is incredibly effective at defending well here. We see the snatch coming in. I thought I saw Master Set go for the damage writing down, but looks like he's still thinking.
And this, of course, can be snappied, and Mocha is going to want to use these now, I think, because he's not going to get another chance to use go again snatch in this game. So I think that's going to be the inevitable thing that happens, followed by the Ender Eye.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there we go.
And there it is, the Snapdragon's in reaction. Master Set prepared to write the damage, and he does. Goes down to 8. Draw a card. Is it something he can use?
It's just the
does the Enduri? He's played a red card, so I believe that's the condition for go again. So it could still... It has to be a 0 cost something. But he does have a play potentially if Dorinthea does not pop this.
Yeah, it needs to be a 0 cost, obviously, from the card that he drew from the Snatch, but we'll see. He's still got 1 block on the Grains as well, I believe. Yeah, -1 on the Grains still, so he's still got a Grains block, but he's just going to take it and hope that there's no 0 cost 5 damage follow-up. Asvalai, okay.
Okay.
So that's going to do 3 damage when this goes.
Yep, 1 arcane, 2 physical on the attack, yep. And hey, look, do you believe in miracles? It's getting real uncomfortable for Dorinthea now. No counters. It does look like he's kept his hand, so he's really investing his life into this next turn sequence here. Look, hey, Dromai was down. It is now, I think it's anybody's game. Now, arcane damage is on the board. Dorinthea does not have arcane barrier. There's the determination.
There it is.
There's the +1. Hey, Oasis and Sandcover are instances, so they aren't held by the dominate effect if he's got it in his hand. He does have 4. There's 3 block.
So he's still dead.
He's putting his cards out. He doesn't have it. That's it, man.
Wow.
Mocha really made it a game. Yep, there he's saying had the sink below, had the sand cover next to that one. Not quite. Hey, that wasn't a game, and then it started becoming a game real quick there at the end. But a good showing by Master Set Madness, taking it over Mocha on Dorinthea. Not bad.
But yeah, that was pretty intense. That was an awesome game. I loved that mid game where we saw all that value being just churned out from the Dorinthea player. That was fantastic to see. All of the new cards coming into effect. The Grains of Bloodspill getting loads of extra banked resources for Dorinthea to then decide to block on previous turns, then just come back with the 2 Grains. Oh, it's ridiculous. So much value. Absolutely loved it. What do you think was the pivotal moments in that game?
I think the real backbreaking moment was the down and dirty popping the Kyloria. Yeah. I think there was a real thought there that maybe something can be put together if it comes through and attacks, and Dorinthea just stifled that, and I think that really kind of sealed the deal for Dromai's side. I think that needed to produce something there, and I think that was Dorinthea's kind of foot on the neck, as it were. Like you're talking about, that mid game was impressive as all hell. It really brought Dromai all the way down. To Mocha's credit there, right? 24-23 to 2, right? And that game ended 3-1, and just a couple different cards that coming up on that last hand, and we might be talking about how Mocha pulled out like a big upset comeback victory here.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was only the Dominate that closed the game off, and as we saw at the very end there, Mocha had a sink below, maybe sort of pitched at the right time or coming up at the right time. Maybe he got through a cycle of the deck. It was a long game after all, so maybe the
they definitely looking at second cycle there.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end he was showing that he saw the sink below, and the third sand cover
Right.
were not as close as he would have liked to see him, but if it wasn't for that dominate, you're right. It
Yeah.
probably you know Dromai could have maybe made it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that was a fantastic game, and I'm glad I had you on to do that because I know you're a big Warrior fan, and I'm definitely a Warrior fan after that game. That was cracking. That was great. Great to see all that value coming out in the mid game to really sort of pressure Dromai. I'll always love seeing Dromai pressured. That's what I'm going to say. But yeah, that was great. Before we wrap this game up, just want to shout out all of your stuff yet again for people that have made it all the way to the end, so people can go and check you out and all of your stuff as well, please, sir.
Absolutely. I am Patrick Shaw. My channel is Off the Rails TCG. Go on to YouTube, look that up, and click the subscribe button, all the good stuff. Get those notifications. Also on Twitter at Off the Rails TCG. Where the next episode of the podcast, the Action Point, is coming out very soon. And it was a really great episode with some great people. And I'm looking forward to a release of that. And thanks again for having me on for the call here. I love any chance I get to do this.
Absolutely, no problem at all. And we're probably going to see Pat again on the next video that comes out as well, because we're going to be doing another Warrior game, which is not going to be as long as this one. A little bit of hindsight there for you. But yeah, we're going to be doing Kasai versus Prism. So come back tomorrow.
Oh,
come back tomorrow. And we'll be doing it all over again. But thanks again, Pat. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.